this is kind of a big question, but can sum it up in a way however you feel. With all this new music you're writing and just everything you're doing in general as an artist, what's your main message to humanity for the most part? And yeah, what's the main topics, like what's the main thing you
Your
basically
love,
say to people?
yeah, yeah. I would say your love is enough. Your love
That's
is
awesome.
enough. It's like the main message of my music is your love is enough. And that in that simplicity of being, you are enough. Your love is enough. Like what you have to give to this world is enough. And if you align your actions with your intentions and your intentions are aligned in unconditional love, you can radically change not only your own situation and your own perspective, but you can change the entire world. And through a unification of that type of idealism and actual behavior, we can live on a paradise on earth where we all experience high levels of possibilities and you know being, and not rooted in a selfish desire or a materialistic pleasure, or a situation where it's like these people are profiting while these people are like suffering. you know we can move to an abundance mentality where we realize the reality is limitless in abundance, and that it will continuously create for us that which we need for each person. When we work together through love, through this idea that we don't have to like pull, pull all these shenanigans where we're trying to like get over on people or divide ourselves by like, oh, I'm this or I'm that, or you're this or you're that, and my thing is like this and you don't understand. And that's a type of mentality I think that we're ready to move past. And so a lot of my music does kind of have a serious tone and does have a lot of positive idealism, and it does have a lot of I would say like a sincere tone to it. I really don't have an interest in writing music about stuff that I don't feel or experience. I think that would be a waste of my time and the skill sets that I've cultured. I've certainly been offered plenty of money and plenty of opportunity to do things that wouldn't have been in alignment with myself as an artist and as a spiritual being. And I will continuously say no to temptation, even if it's like you know extravagant, because at the end of the day, if I can make my music the way I like and the way I want, and it's filled from a genuine place of love and positivity and sincerity, if the world's not ready for that yet, I trust that through the transcendental nature of time, it will experience it regardless of the life of the person Ryan Marquez, because the nature of music is transcendental. Like it supersedes physical matter and physical being, and it permeates and vibrates and exists in ways that we've only barely begin to understand as a collective. So it's this idealism, I guess, of wanting to continue on the narrative of our ancestors who have, through song, enshrined these ideals and these emotions and these beliefs that we are all one unconditional love being, having a multitude of experiences due to the nature of this reality that we've chosen, here in the material world to kind of experience in like a what do they say, anything that's possible can happen, kind of way. It's like all possibilities exist. The craziest part about our life is that science says some of the craziest stuff is true. You know what I'm saying? And then people are walking around like, oh yeah, that stuff in the Bible could never happen, or that stuff in the Quran couldn't happen, or like that legend, there's no way that happened, or science fiction book, there's no way that's true, you know. And then it's like, but then like if you're a student of science, then there's all these other there's always like these weird exceptions, like when you study quantum physics or these other things that you hear about. You know, but music is what I know most about, and I know from firsthand experience that like there's a power and a being that's beyond our understanding, like and not a being like a person or a place or a thing, not something we can understand, but like a nature, a state, a being, like an existing that transcends all limitations, all physical, materialistic, and manifested constructs. And that being is a state and an idea and a place that's been enshrined by all these different disciplines throughout the aeons of time, like all these ascended masters who've come not just from music, but you know, from religion, from science, from different types of art, visual art, you know, all these people that have invested time, mathematics into understanding the nature of self. You know, it's like Einstein was like all these great mathematicians and science people, they were all really esoteric and spiritually driven in their work and in their understanding of the nature of what they did. And the nature of this world, unfortunately, is to divide because we live in a duality kind of consciousness. You know, there has to be like if there's a this, then there has to be a that, you know, kind of thing. And those two things sometimes seem to be like at opposition. But then when you like actually look at them, you're like, those are actually the same thing. They're just different angles, you know. It's just two different angles, like of looking at it. It's like to be happy is to be sad. You know what I'm saying? Like because if you're anything that in this reality that makes you happy will make you sad. So to recognize that the exponential nature of the happiness that you have will be directly reflected by sadness at some point, at least while you still understand in terms of emotions. Like to be happy is to be sad. To be sad is to be happy, because that sadness, when whatever was making you happy now makes you sad, now the exponential factor of how sad you are is just an indication of that happiness that you once had. So once you realize that there's no difference between happy and sadness, or you know, really between positivity and negativity, it's not even really that. It's really all the same, but it's just different. It's just a different viewpoint of perspective. But once you kind of move out of that perspective and you see, yo, like it's all light. Like there's nowhere where the dark can go that the light isn't already there. You know what I'm saying? The only way the light doesn't exist is when something is obscuring it. That's it. But it doesn't keep it from not being there. Like the light, once the light's on, it's always there. And it always penetrates the darkness. Like darkness never puts the light out. It's not the darkness, it's an object in the way of the darkness. You know what I'm saying? And that object is inside of our own being as our own egos. You know what I'm saying? And we all have acquired that and developed that through experience and through culturing on this planet. And it's really like, I guess, like the nature of my music is trying to shed light on the fact that most of the time in our experience, stuff that's weird or stuff that's messed up or doesn't feel great, it's just there's a blockage or an obstruction or a misunderstanding about the nature of ourselves, which is infinite and all knowing, all unconditional love. We just have to move to a place to be able to experience it. You know, not saying that it won't be without imperfections or flaws in the journey, but if we move towards this type of idealism where we're acting from a place of unconditional love, then I truly believe that the world will heal itself. You know what I'm saying? Like, regardless of what humans do, mushrooms are going to take over the world. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole nother day. But the death, birth, rebirth cycle process, it will continue to go on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And this will always exist. And so music is like that thing that can like transcend, you know what I'm saying? Like it can go when we're both gone, the music that we made, even if the internet's gone, if there's one person that remembers the melody that we made, you know what I'm saying? Like we're still here, you know? And I guess there's just something about being in that lineage of understanding that it's a collective narrative. It's an age old song. And at some point, you know, the universe explodes, the star blows up. But you know what I'm saying? While we're here, might as well have a little fun.